Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number Analysis. The introduction of new technologies clearly has both positive and negative impacts for sustainable development. Good management of technological resources needs to take them fully into account. Technological developments in sectors such as nuclear energy and agriculture provide examples of how not only environmental benefits but also risks to the environment or human health can accompany technological advances. New technologies have profound social impacts as well. Since the Industrial Revolution, technological advances have changed the nature of skills needed in workplaces, creating certain types of jobs and destroying others, with impacts on employment patterns. New technologies need to be assessed for their full potential impacts, both positive and negative. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 01. Managers frequently try to play psychologist, to figure out why an employee has acted in a certain way. Empathizing with employees in order to understand their point of view can be very helpful. However, when dealing with a problem area, in particular, remember that it is not the person who is bad, but the actions exhibited on the job. Avoid making suggestions to employees about personal traits they should change, instead suggest more acceptable ways of performing. For example, instead of focusing on a person's unreliability, a manager might focus on the fact that the employee has been late to work 7 times this month. It is difficult for employees to change who they are, it is usually much easier for them to change how they act. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 02. The more people have to do unwanted things, the more chances are that they create unpleasant environment for themselves and others. If you hate the thing you do but have to do it nonetheless, you have choice between hating the thing and accepting that it needs to be done. Either way you will do it. Doing it from place of hatred will develop hatred towards the self and others around you. Doing it from the place of acceptance will create compassion towards the self and allow for opportunities to find a more suitable way of accomplishing the task. If you decide to accept the fact that your task has to be done, start from recognizing that your situation is a gift from life. This will help you to see it as a lesson in acceptance. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 03. Clarity in an organization keeps everyone working in one accord and energizes key leadership components like trust and transparency. No matter who or what is being assessed in your organization, what they are being assessed on must be clear and the people must be aware of it. If individuals in your organization are assessed without knowing what they are being assessed on, it can cause mistrust and move your organization away from clarity. For your organization to be productive, cohesive, and successful, trust is essential. Failure to have trust in your organization will have a negative effect on the results of any assessment. It will also significantly hinder the growth of your organization. To conduct accurate assessments, trust is a must, which comes through clarity. In turn, assessments help you see clearer, which then empowers your organization to reach optimal success. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 04. We usually take time out only when we really need to switch off, and when this happens we are often overtired, sick, and in need of recuperation. Me time is complicated by negative associations with escapism, guilt, and regret, as well as overwhelm, stress, and fatigue. All these negative connotations mean we tend to steer clear of it. Well, I am about to change your perception of the importance of me time, to persuade you that you should view it as vital for your health and well-being. Take this as permission to set aside some time for yourself. Our need for time in which to do what we choose is increasingly urgent in an overconnected, overwhelmed, and overstimulated world. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 05. Though we are marching toward a more global society, various ethnic groups traditionally do things quite differently, and a fresh perspective is valuable in creating an open-minded child. Extensive multicultural experience makes kids more creative, measured by how many ideas they can come up with and by association skills, and allows them to capture unconventional ideas from other cultures to expand on their own ideas. As a parent, you should expose your children to other cultures as often as possible. If you can, travel with your child to other countries, live there if possible. If neither is possible, there are lots of things you can do at home, such as exploring local festivals, borrowing library books about other cultures, and cooking foods from different cultures at your house. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 06. In 2003, British Airways made an announcement that they would no longer be able to operate the London to New York Concorde flight twice a day because it was starting to prove uneconomical. 2003. Well, the sales for the flight on this route increased the very next day. There was nothing that changed about the route or the service offered by the airlines. Merely because it became a scarce resource, the demand for it increased. If you are interested in persuading people, then the principle of scarcity can be effectively used. If you are a salesperson trying to increase the sales of a certain product, then you must not merely point out the benefits the customer can derive from the said product, but also point out its uniqueness and what they will miss out on if they don't purchase the product soon. In selling, you should keep in mind that the more limited something is, the more desirable it becomes. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 07. Without guidance from their teacher, students will not embark on a journey of personal development that recognizes the value of cooperation. Left to their own devices, they will instinctively become increasingly competitive with each other. They will compare scores, reports, and feedback within the classroom environment just as they do in the sporting arena. We don't need to teach our students about winners and losers. The playground and the media do that for them. However, we do need to teach them that there is more to life than winning and about the skills they need for successful cooperation. A group working together successfully requires individuals with a multitude of social skills, as well as a high level of interpersonal awareness. While some students inherently bring a natural understanding of these skills with them, they are always in the minority. To bring cooperation between peers into your classroom, you need to teach these skills consciously and carefully, and nurture them continuously throughout the school years. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 08. No matter what your situation, whether you are an insider or an outsider, you need to become the voice that challenges yesterday's answers. Think about the characteristics that make outsiders valuable to an organization. They are the people who have the perspective to see problems that the insiders are too close to really notice. They are the ones who have the freedom to point out these problems and criticize them without risking their job or their career. Part of adopting an outsider mentality is forcing yourself to look around your organization with this disassociated, less emotional perspective. If you didn't know your co-workers and feel bonded to them by your shared experiences, what would you think of them? You may not have the job security or confidence to speak your mind to management, but you can make these outsider assessments of your organization on your own and use what you determine to advance your career. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 09. When trying to convince someone to change their mind, most people try to lay out a logical argument, or make a passionate plea as to why their view is right and the other person's opinion is wrong. But when you think about it, you'll realize that this doesn't often work. As soon as someone figures out that you are on a mission to change their mind, the metaphorical shutters go down. You'll have better luck if you ask well-chosen, open-ended questions that let someone challenge their own assumptions. We tend to approve of an idea if we thought of it first, or at least, if we think we thought of it first. Therefore, encouraging someone to question their own worldview will often yield better results than trying to force them into accepting your opinion as fact. Ask someone well-chosen questions to look at their own views from another angle, and this might trigger fresh insights. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 10. Children may develop imaginary friends around 3 or 4 years of age. Imaginary friends are only a concern if children replace all social interactions with pretend friends. As long as children are developing socially with other children, then imaginary friends are beneficial. Parents often will need reassurance about imaginary friends. They should be respectful of the pretend friends, as well as of their child. Children who create imaginary friends should never be teased, humiliated, or ridiculed in any way. Parents may tire of including the friends in daily activities, such as setting an extra plate at dinner, but they should be reassured that the imaginary friends stage will pass. Until then, imaginary friends should be respected and welcomed by parents because they signify a child's developing imagination. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 11. We all have set patterns in life. We like to label ourselves as this or that and are quite proud of our opinions and beliefs. We all like to read a particular newspaper, watch the same sorts of TV programs or movies, go to the same sort of shops every time, eat the sort of food that suits us, and wear the same type of clothes. TV. And all this is fine. But if we cut ourselves off from all other possibilities, we become boring, rigid, hardened and thus likely to get knocked about a bit. You have to see life as a series of adventures. Each adventure is a chance to have fun, learn something, explore the world, expand your circle of friends and experience, and broaden your horizons. Shutting down to adventure means exactly that you are shut down. MTC. Good job. MTC. Let's start. 242, Chapter 3 Number 12. When I started my career, I looked forward to the annual report from the organization showing statistics for each of its leaders. As soon as I received them in the mail, I'd look for my standing and compare my progress with the progress of all the other leaders. After about 5 years of doing that, I realized how harmful it was. 5. Comparing yourself to others is really just a needless distraction. The only one you should compare yourself to is you. Your mission is to become better today than you were yesterday. You do that by focusing on what you can do today to improve and grow. Do that enough, and if you look back and compare the you of weeks, months, or years ago to the you of today, you should be greatly encouraged by your progress. MTC. Good job.